Right now at 5:30 on WKYT this morning, Kentucky Secretary of State pushing for new legislation that would change the early voting process.
We'll have a report on that on WKYT. Also, a Frankfort gas station clerk is being called a hero after his actions may have helped save a man's life.
And we'll have an update on a rock slide that shut down part of Interstate 75 along the Kentucky-Tennessee border. That's coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Kentucky Morning Start with WKYT, and we're glad you're with us on this Monday for the brand new week. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. And I'm just wondering, is this a sign that spring is here to stay with the, nice temperatures?
It's pretty good. It looks like we get a week's worth of these temperatures at least, so let's just hope the trend continues. Meteorologist Micah Harris is back with us after a couple of days off. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I brought back some really nice weather. Look, and not just the next 7 days, but as Bill was alluding to, at least the next 7 days. I mean, you go 10, 14 days out, and I still don't see any shots of really cold air. So there is some good news for us. Temperatures are there in the 40s. The next several days look really good, and it's starting with today. 68 degrees, a mixture of sun and clouds. It's not going to be bright blue skies. You're not going to have that any day this work week. However, you're still going to be seeing the 60s today, 70s the next few days. Is there a possibility, just the slightest possibility, to see an 80-degree reading? I'll have that in your forecast, and I'll show you when the rain moves in. Coming up.
Okay, we'll see you then, Micah. Thank you. We are tracking a developing traffic alert this morning. Want to keep you right up to the minute on what's going on. A semi has crashed and shut down a stretch of I-64 in northeastern Kentucky. The crash happened in Carter County, just west of Olive Hill. I-64 is shut down, so dispatchers say that drivers are being diverted to US 60 in Rowan County. That is, if you're eastbound, they're taking you off, detouring you there at the Moorhead exit. Stay with WKYT this morning. We'll continue to track this story.
Well, today, Secretary of State Allison Lundergan-Grimes is set to discuss House Bill 290. That's a piece of legislation she's proposed to change the early voting process.
Most states have this. She is expected to have support from Tennessee's Secretary of State at the hearing today. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with more on today's hearing. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. This bill would really change the voting process in Kentucky. Right now, if you want to vote absentee, you have to give the state a reason for why you can't make it to your polling place. House Bill 290, however, would throw out the 6 requirements that the state typically looks for and would allow people to vote early without giving a reason. Secretary of State Allison Lundergan-Grimes is working with Trey Hargett, Tennessee's Secretary of State, to pass the bill before the General Assembly ends in April. Tennessee has already passed early voting legislation. There, 25 to 30% of voters do vote early in presidential preference primaries. If House Bill 290 is adopted in Kentucky, it would likely not be made law until July, so it probably will not affect voters for the upcoming May primary. However, the bill would likely allow people to vote early in the November election. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. Kentucky Republicans had 11 candidates to pick from on their caucus ballots. Saturday night, it was Donald Trump who came out on top in the Commonwealth's presidential caucus. The state's Republican leaders worried there would be low voter turnout, but overall, they say 229,000 Kentuckians voted in the caucus. That's more than voted in the 2012 Republican primary. Kentucky's Democratic presidential primary is May 17th. Well, the Kentucky caucus happened this year because Senator Rand Paul's presidential campaign. Paul suspended his race after the Iowa caucus last month. His name, along with several other candidates who dropped out, was still on the ballot. Senator Paul posted pictures on social media of himself voting in the caucus, but he would not say who he voted for.
Well, I'm not going to endorse anybody in the race, and so I'll probably keep that private. I'm going to stay out of it. I won't let Kentucky Republicans make their decision. I said my piece. I, had a few disagreements with many of the people on the stage, and I think that adds to the debate, and I think I did my job, and now sort of my job is to try to bring everybody together and not continue to divide it up.
Paul's campaign spent about $250,000 on the caucus.
Well, this morning, the United States is continuing to mourn the loss of a former First Lady. Nancy Reagan, the wife of former President Ronald Reagan, died yesterday morning at her home in Los Angeles. The 94-year-old died from congestive heart failure.
Her best-known project as First Lady was the Just Say No campaign to help kids and teens stay off drugs. She and Ronald Reagan were married for 52 years before he died in 2004. Several Kentucky political leaders paid their respects to Mrs. Reagan. Senator Rand Paul tweeted, "Nancy Reagan was an exemplary First Lady and woman and will be missed. My thoughts and prayers are with her loved ones."
And she visited Lexington in 1984. We'll have a little bit more about that later. We've been digging through our archives and so forth. Well, a gas station clerk in Frankfort has been credited for saving a man's life after a heated argument in the store.
That argument turned violent. Shots were fired outside the gas station. No one was hurt. WKYT's Mike Byer is live in Frankfort to explain what happened.
A Franklin County man escaped shots fired over the weekend, all with a little help from the clerk who works at this BP gas station. Now, the sheriff tells us the incident happened at the BP gas station on 127 North. That is just north of Frankfort. This happened on Friday evening. It started when two men walked into the store arguing. That's when clerk Alex Steiger stepped in between the two men to break up the argument. Steiger says he grabbed a hold of the person who was causing most of the conflict, giving the other man enough time to get outside and into his vehicle. Thinking the situation was over, Steiger says that's when he heard 5 to 6 shots fired at the man who was taking off in his car. The shooter then fled the scene. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Now, Steigers was able to give deputies a description of the gunman as well as his license plate number. Live in Franklin County, I'm Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. In Lexington, police say several shots were fired at a business last night. Police say there was a card game going on in a back room at Prime Cuts Barbershop on Legends Lane when two men forced their way through the front door. We're told both sides exchanged gunfire and then ran away. No suspects have been identified in that yet.
Well, a Kentucky man accused of killing a little girl now has more accusations against him. A West Virginia boy claims Timothy Madden tried to lure him into a car. Madden is facing several charges, including rape and murder, for the November death of 7-year-old Gabriella Doolin. According to a state police affidavit, Madden was identified as the same man who asked two little boys to get into his car at a West Virginia gas station back in October. A detective filed the affidavit for a search warrant last month.
In Wolfe County, state police are still investigating what caused a deadly crash there. It was the second deadly crash on Kentucky 715 over the weekend. Troopers say around 9:30 Saturday night, 67-year-old Forrest Roberts lost control of his car and hit an embankment. Crews took him to UK Hospital. We do know that a passenger in his car, 52-year-old Marvin King, died at the scene. In Russell County, emergency crews rushed a man to UK Hospital over the weekend after a crash. Deputies say 47-year-old Johnny Coe lost control of his van on Decatur Road Saturday and hit a tree. Crews had to cut him out of the van. We have no word on the extent of his injuries.
A Scott County bus driver accused of assaulting a 5-year-old last year has been found not guilty. The News Graphic reports that a 6-person jury acquitted 65-year-old Durbin Wallace on Friday. He was charged with harassment with physical contact. The jury deliberated for about 90 minutes before reaching a verdict.
Crews will start working this week on a walkway over US 60 in Frankfort, and it will lead to Kentucky State University. Right now, there is a tunnel under that busy road. The new $5.1 million walkway will have an elevator in addition to stairs. Kentucky State University President Raymond Burr says the walkway will increase safety. Students also think the modern look may help recruit students to KSU.
It's like, it looks kind of like the future, kind of like it shows that we have a big future coming ahead, and that there's just more changes coming, and so I think this is the first good step that the school is making.
The Transportation Cabinet expects to complete the walkway by January of 2017.
Well, police in eastern Kentucky are still looking for a man accused this morning of crashing his car into a yard and running away. Dustin Ramsey says the man crashed into a tree in his neighbor's yard in Pike County. Ramsey told police the man seemed like he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Crews are still working to try to clear up that big rock slide that closed part of Interstate 75 near the Kentucky-Tennessee border. But Tennessee transportation leaders have hired a contractor now to remove the debris and try to stabilize the slope. Commissioner John Schroer says the amount of movement on the hill is causing some concern. He says their goal is to get the interstate back open as quickly and safely as possible.
You know, I know people don't like detours, and I don't like them as well, but safety for our workers is primary at this point in time because we have no traffic. So they've got to kind of work closely. The mountain's still moving a little bit.
Now they're hoping to open the southbound lanes by March 17th and to have one northbound lane open by March 27th. The work is expected to be completed in mid-April, about April 15th.
One of UK's biggest fans participated in a big reunion this weekend. Darren Moscow, the UK boogeyman, is known for his dancing and love of the Wildcats. Last month, Moscow was dancing inside Rupp Arena when he took a spill with a young fan he had picked up. Saturday night, he and that fan, 10-year-old Aubrey Derrickson, reunited for the first time since the spill. Moscow gave Derrickson and her mom matching necklaces.
All right, good to see that. And our time this morning is 5:41 on WKYT. And let's check live drive traffic and see what is going on. Not hearing of any major problems in the Lexington metro area right now. We do want to remind you that there is a detour in place on I-64 for eastbound traffic. It begins at Moorhead. It is due to a semi crash in Carter County. We'll keep you on top of that situation this morning. Otherwise, you should be good to go, and we'll keep you informed this morning.
Yeah, looks good.
Monday morning on WKYT, and a week that feels like spring, and we have a lot more news coming up for you.
Some Chicago polar jumpers went gaga over one celebrity who stopped by to participate in the charity event. It's kind of an unlikely one, I think, coming up on WKYT this morning.
Now, we still have about an hour and 20 minutes before the sun rises, but you know what? We're already seeing those temperatures climb. There's only one way to do that. It's coming out of the south with those winds. I'll show you how high we go today and also really high the next few days, coming up in a few minutes.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
That's a pretty good look at weather this morning. We're actually in the 40s and even 50s, and we're rising those temperatures early this morning without even the sun being a player in the game. The way you do that, winds coming out of the south and southwest. You'll feel it once you step out the door this morning, and that's actually really helping us out. 44 now in Frankfort, and that goes for Jackson too, down in Breathitt County. Mountain Parkway looking pretty good this morning. Not seeing any issues out in the distance. Lexington coming in the mid-40s. Now we go through the day. Teachers, getting the kids outdoors. You'll be able to do it today. You'll be able to do it tomorrow, even on Wednesday, maybe even on Thursday. As you're talking about really nice temperatures aren't going to be the problem. It's going to be, are we going to get rain there on Thursday? That's going to be the question. But other than that, I mean, you're talking about 11 a.m. at 58 degrees, low to mid 60s there by 1 p.m. with a mixture of sun and clouds. Really good looking forecast for you teachers. And we'll finish off there in the mid to upper 60s. We head off into the evening. If you're heading out to dinner, temperatures will be there in the 50s, mid to upper 50s. I mean, a really good feel later on this evening. I wouldn't say patio feel there by 8 p.m., but maybe 6 p.m. It's probably a good bet. Low 60s expected. We go into tomorrow morning, and we'll actually start off even warmer tomorrow morning than where we are this morning. It's a really good feel as the kids are going off to the bus stop and you heading off to work. You have no worries whatsoever about being cold this week. Look as we head off toward Tuesday afternoon. 70 degrees there right along I-64. Go southbound, you're talking 72 in Monticello, and that still isn't even close to the warmest temperature in our forecast. We'll continue to track throughout the next few days after that, and what we're going to be seeing, temperatures just continue to skyrocket. So spring is no doubt about it in the air. It's going to be dry today through Wednesday for sure, but Thursday there is a small chance of rain there in the forecast, 30%. So even most of us stay dry on Thursday. Then we hit the 70s the next few days, and that'll take us off into your weekend too, but your weekend is mainly when the rain moves on in. It's really Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is your best bet for those showers, even a few rumbles of thunder, to slide on in. So really the next few days are dry. Then we approach late week, and that's when we start to see that rain come on in. 68 is one of your coldest days in the forecast as we actually jump to the 70s tomorrow and all the way through your weekend. On Thursday, here's a day to watch. On Thursday, I was talking about this on Twitter, Micah Harris, WX. If you got your phone on you right now, check me out. Follow me on Twitter, and I get you updates all throughout the morning. But that is the day that we could possibly, it's a possibility, reach 80 degrees in the forecast. That's the day, if there is a day. But for the most part, I still expect us to stay in the 70s. But if there is a day to even talk about the 80s, yeah, it's going to be on Thursday. But this is a really nice forecast the next several days. We are nowhere near normal. Normal is typically 50, 52. And so we're pretty far from that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be okay
Gonna
with
enjoy it. It's been a while, hasn't
Yes,
it?
it has.
All right.
We'll take it.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's 5:48 on WKYT.
Well, she may be a little hard to recognize, but that's actually Lady Gaga sitting on the back of her fiance, Taylor Kinney. She took a polar plunge in the chilly waters of Lake Michigan in Chicago yesterday.
6,000 people in all took part, including some other celebrities. The annual event is a fundraiser for the Special Olympics. Lady Gaga said those athletes are inspiring and she's happy to help them, even if that means freezing for a little bit in Lake Michigan. Looks like they had a pretty good time.
Surprised she didn't wear her polar bear outfit or something, you know?
Well, she had a ride for most of the way, it looks
She's
like.
looking like a normal, average person these days, huh?
There you go.
Coming up, you'll get the stories making news right now.
A lot going on, and we'll update you on that. Also, the latest traffic information, including what we know about an interstate closure in Carter County. Coming up on WKYT this morning. Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. 5:52 is the time of week that's going to feel like spring around here.
That's good news, right?
It is.
Let's take a look right now at some of the stories we're working on for you at this hour.
We have a lot going on. We're tracking a developing traffic alert for you this morning, a situation where a semi-crash has shut down a stretch of I-64. This is in northeastern Kentucky in Carter County. It is west of Olive Hill, but I-64 eastbound is shut down. Dispatchers say drivers are being diverted to US 60 in Rowan County at the Moorhead exit. We'll continue to update you on this story throughout the morning.
Well, Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes set to discuss a piece of legislation today. House Bill 290 would change the early voting process. Right now, people have to have a reason to vote early. If passed, Grimes' bill would let anyone vote early without a special circumstance. Grimes will also have the support of Tennessee's Secretary of State at the hearing, we are told. Topping your national health headlines this morning, the country is mourning the loss of former First Lady Nancy Reagan.
She is being remembered as a fierce protector of her husband and one who redefined the role of First Lady. Mrs. Reagan died yesterday at her Los Angeles home of congestive heart failure. She was 94. She will be laid to rest beside former President Ronald Reagan at the Reagan Presidential Library and Museum in Simi Valley, California.
The Democratic candidates for president are turning their attention to Michigan. Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders tangled during a CNN debate last night in Flint, Michigan. The two went head-to-head on their differences in economic policy. Earlier, Sanders snagged his 8th presidential contest win in Maine. On the Republican side, Florida Senator Marco Rubio won all 23 delegates in Puerto Rico.
Well, today's the day a big announcement is expected in the world of sports. Denver Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning is retiring as a champion. 39-year-old Manning will announce today he is ending his 18-year NFL career. The 5-time NFL MVP owns dozens of league passing records. He led Denver to victory over Carolina in Super Bowl 50, so going out on top.
Yeah, end of an era there.
Yeah.
Well, there is growing concern from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention about another Zika outbreak.
The CDC is joining forces with health officials in Puerto Rico on the Zika outbreak. The CDC's director is heading there this week to get a first-hand look at how the government is responding to the situation. More than 100 cases are reported there, and there is evidence of a link between the virus and birth defects. That link apparently growing, at least the evidence suggesting it.
A new study suggests older people may be dancing their way to better heart health. Researchers in Chicago found 4 months of Latin dancing twice a week helped put the spring back in the step of many women over 65. Let's get a check right now on today's traffic trouble spots with a look at live drive traffic. Things looking pretty good out there for you this morning. No major issues to report. There is an issue, though, in Carter County that I believe Bill's going to tell us a little bit about.
We will update you, and we're keeping you updated this morning on WKYT.com with exactly what is going on there. We also have Micah's spring-like forecast on there, so you can check that out and all the latest news. But I-64 is closed in Carter County due to a semi-crash. The eastbound traffic being detoured at Moorhead. We'll stay on top of that inconvenient situation for early Monday morning travelers. WKYT.com and, of course, our social media will be letting you know exactly what we find out. The nation is remembering remembering former First Lady Nancy Reagan, who died over the weekend at age 94. Now, we've pulled some archive information and video from her visit to Lexington in 1984, just days before her husband's re-election to the presidency. Speaking of elections, you'll find all the results of the Kentucky Republican Presidential Caucus on our website. Donald Trump carried Kentucky for the Republicans. He was followed closely by Ted Cruz. We have an interactive map where you can see exactly how the candidates performed in each county. So there it is. You can check that out just by clicking on and then click on the individual counties. Again, Peyton Manning announcing today he will be retiring from the NFL after 18 seasons. We have that info up for you there. That's trending this morning. He's the league's all-time leading passer and going out on top after the Denver Broncos won Super Bowl 50. Read up on his career on our website. Leave your comments as well. A lot of people really wanting to wish him well and to thank him for being one to follow all these years. On Kentucky.com, UK coach John Calipari's son Brad is becoming a Wildcat. He will walk on as a member of the team next season. And CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 with your eye opener. And of course, we'll have local updates. Hey, join us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And for the latest news anytime, WKYT.com.
Pretty good looking start to the day, 40s and 50s, 60s by the afternoon, but we'll have 70s in the forecast. If you got to take off, have a good day. If not, stick with us. We have another hour of WKYT News in just a couple of minutes.